Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to an all-new Talking Movies. I'm your host, the real Gino Reynolds, and today we're going to be taking a look at the DC animated DVD release, The Death of Superman, which is a continuation of DC's current animated Justice League storyline. Also, it is an adaptation of the early 90s The Death of Superman comic series. And I have to warn you, this review will probably have some spoilers. That being said, come on, what's going to happen in this movie? It's in the title, so here we go. Together they are stronger, but what if stronger isn't good enough? When a creature driven by destruction lands on Earth, it is up to the Justice League to put a stop to it. When their combined efforts can't even slow the creature down, Earth's mightiest hero becomes its last hope, its only hope to stop Doomsday. I was really into comic collecting when the comics that this movie is based on came out. I was pretty invested in those comics, ranging from The Death of Superman to The Reign of the Supermen and to, of course, The Return of Superman and all of his mullited glory. When DC released Superman Doomsday years ago, the movie, I was pretty excited. While there were some things to like about that movie, though, ultimately the Rush story made it not work as an adaptation or a movie for that matter. When Warner Brothers announced that they were going to adapt it all again as a two-part movie based in their current Justice League storyline, and also similar to what they did with The Dark Knight Returns, I was pretty excited. One smart thing that I think DC Animation is doing right now is the continuing Justice League and DC character storylines. The Death of Superman is the 11th connected movie in this new animated DC AMU, or DC Animated Movie Universe, I guess we'll call it. While not all the movies have been the greatest, all of them have, at the very least, been entertaining. That being said, some of them have been pretty outstanding, such as Justice League The Flashpoint Paradox, for example. So, where does The Death of Superman fit in the list? I'd have to say that while a more simple story than some of the others, this one is definitely one of the better ones. While the story wouldn't stand on its own as a straight-up adaptation of the original source material, I felt that it fit really well into this series universe. The movie did a pretty good job at keeping the universe's storyline going, introducing the players that will take part in the next part, Reign of the Supermen, has some fun and sometimes emotional action, as well as furthers Superman's character development. It's a lot to juggle, but I felt that the movie balanced things out pretty well. I think the most important thing this movie did was make you really care for Superman. His plot revolves around him deciding if he wants to reveal that he is Superman to Lois Lane, who he is in a relationship with. Sure, this is a story that has been told before, many times before, but the way the movie handled it carried a lot of weight behind it. Clark struggles with wanting to get Lois involved with his other life in order to protect her, a super story as old as super time. He doesn't even want to introduce her to his parents because he's afraid that would let her get too close to his life as Clark. The funny thing is, he is more than willing to share his history and life as Superman with her because she is not in a relationship with Superman, but he's treating Clark and Superman like they're two different people. He finally decides that it is for the best that he tells her everything, but the timing couldn't be any worse. With Doomsday taking down the Justice League with ease and destroying everything in sight, Superman could lose everything that he has now just gained. On a side note, I thought it was pretty clever that real-life couple Jerry O'Connell and Rebecca Romijn voice Clark and Lois. It adds a little weight to their characters' relationship. As for other character development, there really isn't a ton of character advancement for most of the other Justice League members. That being said, they're still very important to the story as a whole, and we do get reliable voice acting from Rosario Dawson as Wonder Woman, Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern, Shamar Moore as Cyborg, and others. I'm still not really sold on Jason O'Mara as Batman, but I don't know if I ever will be, because I know that I'm from the spoiled by Kevin Conroy's Batman generation. The characters that get the most development are, of course, Lois and Clark, but also Lex Luthor. With Luthor, we get to see that he is still trying to take advantage of any and every situation that he can. When Doomsday appears, he tries to find a way to make Metropolis love him again by becoming the hero of the story, and he actually tries to fight Doomsday. When Superman falls, he is there to pretend that he and Superman weren't really enemies, but rather misunderstood allies. I thought that Rainn Wilson did an okay job as Luthor. That being said, I would probably still would rather have, say, Clancy Brown back in the role. The action gets pretty hard-hitting and surprisingly bloody for a PG-13 movie. When it comes to Doomsday's path of destruction, they don't hold back on the violent imagery. I'm really wondering how close this movie came to being labeled rated R. I wouldn't say it gets as gruesome as Suicide Squad Hell to Pay, for example, but there is a lot of blood spilled in this one. When it came to the action scenes, just about everything involving the fight with Doomsday is really well done. Each hero puts their best efforts forward only to be swatted away like they're nothing. When Superman finally enters the fight, it's really cool to see that they just didn't have it all be about the two of them fighting. During the battle, Superman is still Superman and is trying to help the innocent people around him survive as well as fight off an unstoppable foe. Finally, I want to talk about a scene that shows just how well this movie built up Clark and Lois's relationship. And this is a pretty big spoiler, so if you don't want to have a big part of this movie ruined for you, you might want to tune out now. Let me just say that I would recommend this movie, especially if you're a fan of DC characters. So that's my recommendation for you if you don't want to have more of the movie spoiled for you. So are you still here? Okay, here we go. When Superman seems to have thrown everything at Doomsday, but it's still not enough, all seems lost. Before Doomsday can deliver the killing blow, he finds himself against another adversary, Lois Lane. Even though she knows that she stands literally no chance of defeating him, she throws a rock at the creature's head, if only to give Superman just some time to recover. She knows that she is probably going to die, but she loves Clark so much that she'd sacrifice herself so that he has a chance, a very small chance, to win. As Doomsday is about to destroy her, Superman gets one final burst of energy and takes his last shot at Doomsday, which is successful. I thought that this scene and the scene following it was a fantastic conclusion to a story arc of two connected characters. It's definitely the best part of this movie. Make sure that you watch through all of the credits to this movie. Through the entire thing, they tease what all is coming next in Reign of the Supermen. If you've read the comics that this movie is based on, you already have an idea of who all is going to appear in the next movie, which comes out sometime next year. I haven't been able to find an official date. While you don't have to have seen all the new Justice League movies to watch and follow this movie, it doesn't hurt. There are a few plot points that are connected to the other movies, and it helps that you know these things, but I would say they're probably not required. Again, I've at the very least enjoyed all of the new DCAMU movies that have come out, and The Death of Superman is no different. I really enjoyed this one and would highly recommend it, and I'm really looking forward to the next chapter. They built Superman up so well in this that you're definitely going to be invested in what's going to happen next. that's going to be all for this edition of Talking Movies. If you like what you've heard here, please subscribe to the Real Gino YouTube channel, like this video, and if you have anything to say about this movie, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Until next time, I'm your host, the Real Gino Reynolds. Up, up, and away.